All right, you guys, I'm telling you my competition prep life. Actually, not really. I guess this is more of what it was before and like what it took to turn pro. And I'm talking here with my friend Gordon, and just gonna like briefly tell you guys, we actually filmed this video last week, but the footage got deleted, so it's okay. If you haven't watched my previous video before this, it is a series that I'm doing, and it's on becoming your best self. And right now I'm prepping actually for a photo shoot in September. It's about like 10 weeks out as of Saturday. Right now we're Thursday, so about 10 and a half weeks out. And going through this whole process of prepping again, whether it's for a photo shoot or a competition, it has made me realize that, you know, you do have to push yourself an extreme amount and get really uncomfortable in order to reach a goal. And I will say it's a little bit harder to do that when you don't have a like set date. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have a competition or something like that, I find that it's a little bit harder to kind of find the drive, but you got to really dig like deep and, you know, think back at the times that you have achieved really big goals and what you had to kind of put yourself through to get there. So in talking about all that, before I tell you guys next week, you know, I'll give you guys an update at 10 weeks out and what I'm going to do with my prep. I'll tell you guys this history of, you know, how I turned pro. And there's a lot of girls nowadays that want to get into competing and they think it's so simple, like you're just gonna do one competition and make it to nationals and then win nationals, and like it is absolutely not like that. Like, you know, it's actually really, really hard. But when I competed, so when I moved to Vancouver in 2012, that's when I had gone from kind of like this like party lifestyle in Montreal. When I lived, you know, in Montreal for a few years, I was into the party life, and I moved to Vancouver, and I kind of want to just like recreate myself completely. So it was the perfect time to do so. Like I find that when you move, sometimes you have like that, like it's a blank slate, you know what I mean? So I moved, and I remember looking for coaches. I Googled coaches, I hired somebody right away, and at the time I was vegan. And I ended up telling her, like, I want to do whatever show is coming up next. And there was one coming up in 8 weeks. So she's like, all right, if you do it, like, you're basically going to have to, like, kill yourself to get there. And I was all for it. I'm a little bit of an extremist at times. And sometimes I feel like I do better on pressure, which can be a bad thing. But I'm like, all right, 8 weeks, bring it, whatever I got to do. So I basically, like, my very first prep ever, I think I ate, like, tilapia. Not even chicken. No, I had tilapia, egg whites, Ezekiel bread, and asparagus. I think that was it, and like 10 almonds. Like counted. It was so psycho. But anyway, I got to my first competition, and I'll like put little pictures right here. If you can see, like I was just super depleted, just skinny. I didn't have a lot of muscle on me. But it was also my first experience competing. So my only real goal was to make it to stage. So once I made it to stage, I'm like, awesome, I achieved my goal. And I kind of had this like, I loved it. Like I loved being on stage. I always, since I was little, I loved performing and stuff like that. I liked being around people. So when I competed, I'm like, this is amazing. This is like a mixture of all of those things. And you know, I saw the people that won and everybody looked amazing. But I knew that had I had more time and had I had a like set focus, I could have probably won the show. So my goal from then on, like literally stepped off stage, and I said, all right, I'm gonna do this same show a year from now and work my butt off and win the show, right? So I did just that. Competing became my life. And that's something that I kind of want to tell people, that if you are a competitor, I've done it, it becomes your life. It's very consuming, but I also think, looking back, that you should do your best to balance out other areas of life, because competing is not everything. And at the time, you know, I had moved to Vancouver with my ex-boyfriend, and I feel like competing, or not necessarily competing itself, but me being so like selfish and like focused on a goal, like definitely made our relationship like go downhill completely. Like I completely admit to that. But it was also what I wanted to do. So there's always like a time and a place for things, right? So anyway, I prepped my butt off an entire year. I hired a new coach the summer of 2013, and I had about 16 weeks to prep for the same show a year later. And I started practicing something that I actually had already like read about, which is like really weird. You guys are maybe think I'm weird, but it's all good. I am. I started like practicing like visualization, and I started, you know, I had read The Secret and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so if you like believe in something and like you write it down and you like really focus on it, like you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And I still believe that, by the way, 100%. So I literally did that, and anyway, I would write down my goals. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I went into the show the next year, a little like, you know, body improved, everything, stage presence. I had a little bit more confidence, and I ended up winning my class, which I was, again, really happy about. Qualified for provincials. In Canada, competing is like even harder, because when you win a regional show, you don't just make it to nationals. You make it to provincials, which is like the state show, and then you have to qualify at the state show, get top 5 in order to go to nationals. So it's like a 3-step process. So anyway, I qualified for provincials. I'm like, awesome, this whole like visualization thing worked. I can't talk right now, need this coffee. And to make a long story short and not like bore you guys with my whole story on how I turned pro, like my point in this whole video is like, I was literally like, that was my focus. I worked, but even at work, I would think about like what I'm eating next. Like everything was consumed around the competing aspect. And I also felt like I had to do that in order to get to where I wanted to be. So I prepped my butt off for provincials. Every single time that I was in the gym, I was literally putting it in my mind, like I need to train right now, like I'm already a pro. And this is around the time that I really started getting into like the fitness world, and you know, Instagram started getting bigger, and I was following like all these competitors and everything like that. So funny, I used to like, we were checking, one of like my first people that I followed was like Courtney King, which is my roommate now, and like India Paulino, and like all the OGs that, I mean, you know, your Shira, like all the OGs like from like 2013. Natalia Mello, which won it that year, I think, or maybe Ashley Kay won it. But anyway, I think she won it the year before. I was like obsessed with everything competing. So I went into provincials. I would, you guys, like it still gives me chills. Like I would literally repeat to myself exactly like that I wanted to win, that I wanted to make it to nationals, everything like that. And I ended up going into provincials kind of with that like certainty, like I'm here to win, you know what I mean? And never telling people that, but just thinking it. And whatever, I ended up winning provincials, which kind of qualifies you for nationals for life. So it's already like a ticket to like, all right, you get to do nationals forever until you win, you know what I mean? So it was a good feeling. And people didn't know this at the time, but I had actually already booked my flight and accommodation and everything for nationals, like even before qualifying, because I feel like you have to do those things if you're really sure about yourself. Like I don't believe in backup plans. Like, I don't know, it's cool to have a backup plan once you need it, but I've never understood like, oh, if I don't make it to nationals this year, let me start planning next year. Like, no, like you go there for the purpose of winning, right? So I'm big on that, and I'm not saying winning is everything. I'm just saying like, if you're gonna put your full focus on something, you might as well like try to beat your best, you know? So that's kind of like my whole story with that. But anyway, so I won provincials, super happy. I actually have like a clip. Maybe I can find it and add it in here. And it said like my speech after was like, if you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And I was like crying, and it was pretty cool. And my mom was there visiting from Mexico. And so I told her, I said, listen, I already booked everything for the week after to go to nationals. And you can come with me. And she's, you know, she agreed. We flew out from Vancouver to Edmonton. And kind of like this, the whole, again, purpose of this video is to, yes, take you through my whole like competing journey, but also I'll get to something at the end actually. Like I'll kind of make it quick. When we went to nationals, I had set, again, the same expectations of winning my class and everything like that. But sometimes when you set a really big goal, I feel like your mind is always gonna try to block you of things because it thinks like, no, you don't have the experience. Or you start hearing other people's opinions and it kind of like gets to you. And I remember people telling me that it was impossible to win nationals, like natural, no boobs, all these things. I remember them telling me, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, it definitely got to my head. I said, oh, well, maybe I'm just going for the experience, but I still wanted to win my class. And I was actually super shocked to win my pro card. Like I never expected it. I wanted to win my class, but at Canadian Nationals, you only win your pro card if you get overall or second to overall. So once everybody in their class wins, they go to the overall, and it's only 2 pro cards per year. So it was definitely like harder, and you know, I tried my best and I went up there, and I remember I had fun. The day of the show, like there was all these complications. Like my tanning girl got caught tanning people and she wasn't supposed to in the hotel rooms. So we got kicked out. So she tanned me by hand. And I remember not even being stressed about it because like the expectation of like having to win my pro card wasn't there. It was just more like, oh my gosh, I made it to nationals. Like I'm already super happy, you know? And looking back, you know, and achieving like the prestigious like pro card and everything like that, I definitely realized that I would have never gotten to that point had I not set my mind to something and stuck to it religiously, you know? There were so many things that happened during my prep before nationals. I went through breakup, I moved like 3 or 4 times. I was constantly struggling money-wise, like all the time. And it didn't matter to me because what mattered was the end goal, and like I was like super motivated. So I think that that's my purpose with this video, is that if you set your mind to anything, you have to commit to it no matter how hard it gets. Because I feel like the moment you kind of give yourself slack, unless it's like crazy health related, that's different. But if you give yourself slack, like, oh, I'm stressed, I don't think I could do it, then it's already like, it's so easy to just not do it, right? But if you commit to something and you really put your focus and all your energy into that, I really think that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And I think it really starts with self-belief. So I guess this video is obviously for all you viewers that watch my videos. I appreciate it. I don't have a ton of followers on here or subscribers, but I love you guys, and I love the people that do watch the videos and comment. You guys, it means the world to me, it really does. And also for the girls thinking about competing, my advice to you would be to kind of look at where your life is at right now and see if you were to commit to a competing goal, if you are ready and prepared to make that like pretty much a really big part of your life. I'm not saying it has to take over your entire life, but it does take over a huge part of your life. And if you're ready for that, also kind of realize that your health, your family, your friends are always more important than that goal. And I know that it sounds maybe like I'm contradicting myself. I'm trying not to, but I feel like when you have a goal, you know, you can 100% achieve it, but not at the sacrifice of the things that are really important in life. And I look back when I was competing, and I think I was very selfish, and I think I needed to be at the time, but if I could take it back, I would maybe not be as like self-consumed and still focused on my goals. So now that I'm prepping for this photo shoot, you guys, I'm really trying, like, I feel like once you go hardcore competition mode, it's kind of hard to find an in-between of like, I'm dieting, but I'm not trying to like go crazy and like limit, you know, being like happy and enjoying life, right? So there's that fine line of working hard, but also knowing that it shouldn't take over your entire life. So that's my whole purpose with the photo shoot. I'm really trying to make it a lifestyle more than anything, make conscious decisions. I am tracking my food and stuff like that, but I'm also not trying to get competition lean at all anymore. I don't know if you know, Gordon was asking me if I plan on competing again, and that's still kind of like, it just doesn't sound appealing to me anymore. Even though I feel like having a competition goal is an amazing goal to have, I just don't think that, I think that you have to also like how you look while you compete. And I personally, it's just not my thing anymore. And I'm not trying to define myself either, because you never know, maybe in a few weeks I'll be like, hey, I want to compete again, and I'll step on stage. But I think your mind has to be fully in it, and that's the whole thing, right? So anyway, my mind's fully in on this photo shoot right now. And if you guys are prepping for a show, kill it. Like literally put your focus on that and write those goals down and literally kill it. Or even if you're just, you know, trying to achieve your own fitness and health goals, write that stuff down and write it in the present form. Like, I am already these things, you know what I mean? Anyway, cheers to that. I hope you guys liked the video and the little visuals of me back in the day competing. I'm gonna show you on my next video things that I went through once I turned pro and how to get in the fitness industry and get paid by companies. And for those that do want to work in the fitness industry, what are other ways that you can make money in the fitness industry? So tune in for the next video, you guys. And I will also be giving you guys a little update on how my prep is going right now. So make sure to follow me on IG if you have not done so. And thank you guys for watching. Comment below if you have any suggestions on things to add in the video next week. Mwah! Thank you guys.